GNT show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to Boliga, where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
And good morning. This is the G&T show. I'm G. This is episode 297. And sitting across from me, he's in his armor. He's oddly transforming his look as we go into a different kind of Klingon. It's Ceridium.
Kabla! I'm polishing my armor and puffing my man bun.
Should you be sharing that much information?
By the way, that you have cute man.
Well, I had big hair until this week. I chopped it and handed over to the nice lady at the cancer center.
Oh. For people that don't know that Mike had big hair, Mike had 1987 era Bon Jovi hair. And now he has a man bun. Now he looks like a samurai. A Portuguese samurai.
Yeah, I can dig that. I can dig that. I chopped about almost, I think it was like 2 feet worth of hair.
Holy cow.
Insane. And there you hear her. She's Jewish. She's lovely. She's a lawyer. She's now suing me. It's Jesfa.
Good morning. Yes, I'm filing the papers as we speak, which is and on Sundays it's very hard to get them delivered because you can never get good help these days. So you'll be soon tomorrow morning.
That's fine. Well, no, I won't. It's a holiday tomorrow.
Oh my God, that's right. Oh yeah, well then we'll pencil it in for Tuesday. How about that?
There we go. And
yeah, she's not gonna pay holiday pay.
No.
That's triple overtime.
She's Jewish. Really? Come on. And there you see him off in the distance, just a shadow, like the banker on Deal or No Deal. Up in the window, just a silhouette. It's Steve.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, everybody.
Now, Steve, you did something athletic again yesterday?
Yes, I did the 5K park run. So,
how you feeling?
It was still a walk. Hell of a lot better than I was last week. I didn't just collapse once I got home. So, managed to shave off 1 minute and 42 seconds. So,
awesome.
That's true.
Better.
Now, are you feeling better with all of this exercise you've been doing?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Are you losing weight?
He's allergic to living. I mean,
no, he's not.
Thing is, I go outside. Sort of. The problem is, I go out and then you've got people cutting their grass, so it just aggravates my hay fever. With my sinuses being so bad at the moment as well, that just makes it all completely so much worse. And yeah. So
are you losing weight?
Haven't looked.
No, it's like talking to a wall sometimes. I've been trying to be nice to him all year, and he doesn't even know if he's losing weight.
That's not the goal.
For me, the goal was never to lose weight.
No,
although I've got plenty of it to lose.
It's a nice side effect.
And it's a side effect that as long as it doesn't kill him, he doesn't care about.
But no, the reason.
I'm sorry. Are you noticing other changes, other things?
Yeah, more back pain, leg pain.
Right on, Steve. Right on.
I'll tell you, when I used to do 5Ks, the place where I would always get pain was like the quads and the inner quads. So if you go to a gym, if you exercise with those scissor kicking kind of machines, that should help actually.
One of my main issues is I found that in the 2 decades it's been since I was last doing any sort of exercise like that, I've done so much driving that my right foot tends to stick out at like a 45-degree angle where it should be. So I hadn't actually noticed it. The only thing I can think of is with all the driving that I've been doing between the accelerator and the brake pedal is my foot was just at that angle, and that's just become like a default. And even if I stand up straight, I hadn't actually noticed until my personal trainer
So you're like the penguin.
pointed. Yeah, so pointed out to me my right foot is at like a 45-degree angle. It's just like, when the hell did that happen?
You know, when your son starts driving, you're going to end up wearing like a hole in the side because you're going to be stamping on this this invisible brake.
Well, so now we know what Steve doing, and I'm still trying to figure it out because I love it. All this exercise, and then like, are you losing weight? I don't know. I haven't checked.
Thing is, the reason I'm doing it is, well, my son's now 10. He's getting to the age where he should be out doing things, but of course, because of all my allergies and everything else, I always just stay indoors, and I don't want him to just think doing that is okay, and sort of I want to make sure he goes out, so I want to set a good example. So I'm sort of
unfortunately, and this is not a dig, it really isn't. Unfortunately, where you live, you don't have a variety of climates to go to. Like, I could move to Arizona or New Mexico or Nevada, to a desert climate where my allergies won't be like that. Unfortunately, you guys don't have that there. You all much the same bout. It's colder and damper.
Yeah, but so I'm just pushing through all the extra pain to do that, and at the same time, I'm hopefully going to raise some more money for cancer research. So,
well, that's
always good.
So, Janet, you have not joined us in a while. So, what's going on? How many degrees are you up to now?
No, just the 3. Let's see a few things. Well, we're getting our downstairs bathroom, like totally gutted, all that stuff. They're gonna start tomorrow, God willing. I hope the guy shows up, because we have all this stuff to put in there, and it's really really bad because this had been probably the house was built in like 1896 or so, and so the area that is our downstairs bathroom is right off the kitchen, and it probably was originally like where they would keep like the big sacks of flour kind of thing. And so the family who lived there before us, they lived there for 42 years, and they when we moved in, there was a slop sink, a bunch of rough cut shelves like you would make in wood shop, a toilet, and an old washing machine. So we took the washing machine off, we replaced the toilet. Now we need to replace the toilet again. Got rid of the shelves and put in it's actually a bookcase, but it's nice shelves. But we never got rid of the slop sink because that's a lot of work, it's a lot of money. And the other thing is that the walls were covered with old, mismatched, I might add, brown paneling, like from 1973. So we took all that down, but that gets you down to it's not even sheetrock; it's like concrete. I don't know what the hell it is, and we had left it there for like over 15 years, and so now it's got mold. So I have no idea how bad this job is going to be, how long it's really going to take. The guy says he thinks it'll be somewhere between 7 and 10 days. Who the hell knows? And when they rip out the floor, they're going to see if there's leaking there, and then if there is, it's going to take even longer. So that's like, been sort of consuming my life. Apart from that, I'm also I also write about business credit, very exciting. So I'm looking to see if I'm going to be published, hopefully in Inc. or an Entrepreneur, because I put some stuff in there, and that's a big excitement. That's what I do, and I'm writing and getting ready for November, and I've been doing a lot of flash fiction lately, actually, to kind of get myself ready to rock. So thank you for asking.
The best part about this is she's excited to get it done, and then they're going to tear up the floor, and because it's so old, they're going to find something under there. Your house is going to have to be like the state historical society is going to have to come out. It's going to be like months while they excavate it and do all of this, all because you wanted to.
Pretty much. I mean, keep in mind the downstairs, the cellar, which sort of looks like where they stack the bodies, has graffiti on it from like the 1920 class of Brighton High School.
Yeah, because I know the area where she lives, and it's amazing the things that they find when they're working on houses.
Yeah,
throughout New England.
So if we find John Hancock's bones, it may be a while before I have a new bathroom.
Mikey, aside from getting a man bun and donating 76 pounds of hair,
Pretty much, yeah.
what else did you have?
Not a whole lot. I updated Stowe. I'm playing the Timelines event, and I'm kicking ass. Although I've fallen.
I saw that you were
places.
number one there briefly.
Yeah, I think I was number one for a couple hours.
Did you feel like in the Olympics when you were like after 2 rounds you were in the lead for the gold, hoping that boy, I hope this holds.
I knew that it wouldn't, but yeah, I hope that it would have held long enough to. I'm hoping that it holds long enough to ensure that I get like top 15. That's my goal, top 15. But this morning when I checked my status, I was at 5th. So
when's it end?
Tuesday. They added an extra day because of the holiday. So it's going to be close. It's going to be close. I might be able to do it.
So you're going to pull a Tanya Harding and just sort of knee the people who are in competition with you?
Why? No. 2 people just got that, Janet, you and me.
Yeah, exactly. Way back when? What year was that? The 80s?
That was the
early 90s, something like that. Tanya Harding, the pride of Delaware. Okay, and really kind of a difficult woman. Let's just say was a big
extremely sad story though. If you know her story, not only was her family rejected by her family, but the skating world with its elitism rejected her because she came from a trailer.
Yeah, exactly. She wasn't an elite. She had never been an elite. And so she and Nancy Kerrigan, who was actually from Massachusetts, were big rivals. And apparently, did Tanya, did she do the hiring or was it her husband?
It was her husband.
All right. So she may or may not actually have known about this. And
she knew about it. I'm sure she did.
All right. So they hired
Jeff
some guy.
Galooly.
Jeff Galooly, that's an awesome name. So they hired this guy to whack Nancy Kerrigan in the knee and break it, but I don't think they actually broke her knee.
No, they didn't.
And so they this was they were still the accused at that point. I don't think they were suspects at that point. Nothing had come to. I don't think anybody had actually been arrested by the time the Olympics actually happened. So both women competed. Kerrigan was able to compete, and so did the Pride of Russia, Oksana Bayul. And Harding didn't even place. She had equipment problems and just sort of had a meltdown. Kerrigan got the silver, but Bayul got the gold. So don't do drugs, folks. Or something like that.
Well, on that public service announcement, the more you know, CBS cares.
The more you know.
So, Mike, what else? Timelines?
I
know you're working a lot.
Actually, not quite so much this week.
Like I said, I know you're not working much.
Yeah, it's just been a quiet week. Been dealing with other little home issues, but Let's not talk about those.
No. Well, I'm going to start out with possibly an inflammatory statement on. I gotta say, as of right now, I'm enjoying the Orville more than Discovery.
Shut your nose.
That's not saying I'm not enjoying Discovery. Let me make that clear. That's not saying I'm not enjoying it. But I'm finding Orville more relatable and fun to watch as a viewer.
I haven't even
Well,
watched the
I
most
know,
recent
son.
episode. It's just like,
The comedy helps make it more enjoyable and fun to watch. So that's not
no,
too
that's
surprising.
not what I mean. It's more enjoyable as in
You're not into the
doesn't
intrigue
seem
that
to be
Discovery's
trying
offering?
as hard. Doesn't seem to be trying as hard. I know it's a weird thing to say.
But I think that's kind of been at least it's been my impression with first seasons or first few episodes of a first season of Star Trek in general.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Although,
and then they get into a groove and then they're okay.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but there's a lot of intrigue built into the first, well, into episode 3, which is like the second pilot.
Xenomorph. I kept thinking that.
So yeah, they're quite different. I mean, although they could coexist almost in the same universe, different times, of course, but within the same universe, it's like they're quite different. Yeah, I really like the Orville as well as Discovery. I try not to compare apples and oranges, though.
Like we're a podcast, that's what we do.
I will gladly compare oranges to oranges and apples to apples, and I will gladly talk about both. But
so see, Orville airs on Thursdays. So what did you all think of this week's? Did you all see it?
I
did.
haven't watched any of the Orville, so but
Oh, you
but
really?
feel
You
free
really
to spoil
haven't?
it. Don't worry about it.
I
I
think
haven't
that
watched.
you haven't.
I haven't seen this week's episode.
Oh, okay. Mike, what
I
did you
have.
think?
I thought it was interesting. The whole they kind of took DS9 and flipped it on its ear. The whole idea of a wormhole being used not for moving through space, but through the other thing that it's supposed to allow you to do, time. So I thought that was kind of cool. So that was different. It had shades of DS9, although the wormhole itself looked nothing like.
That looked awesome though.
Yeah, and the what was that? The dark matter nebula thing. The
Oh,
bubbles.
the dark matter storm? That was really cool.
Yeah, the bubbles were cool. It reminded me of my old Windows 95 screensaver.
Oh my god, yeah.
So, but still, I mean, it was fun. And Charlize Theron, oh, awesome.
I messaged Mike and I was like, really unfair having Charlize Theron and Adrian Palicki in the same show together. That's just not fair.
Was Seth even in this episode? I forget.
Yes, he was. But you know, when they started talking time travel, I literally looked at the screen and I go, Braga.
I haven't checked, but I don't think he wrote this one.
No, but you know,
That's
my
his
automatic
thing.
Yeah. But I think.
But it was very.
Frakes directed it,
I loved it.
I think Frakes directed this one. I'm not sure. Let me
Yeah.
double check.
Now, is this the one? No, this isn't the one with the leg, right? That was the one before it.
No, this was the one with the leg.
When that leg fell from the ceiling, I literally soda came out of my nose. And they
It was
just looked at
unexpected.
it. The way they all just looked at it, and he was like, "Ignore that."
I want to know whose leg that is because I don't think it belongs to the
I think
helmsman.
I think it was the helmsman's.
Well, they
It
they
has to be the helmsman's for my own mental health.
there was a little too much thigh on that leg compared to where he had been cut off, unless unless the leg is growing a new helmsman.
And then the
What?
next time we see him, he's got that leg dangling from under the pants.
Yeah, that was hilarious. But I mean, there's two possibilities. Either that's someone else's leg, and if it is someone else's leg, I blame the blob, Norm McDonald. But if it's not,
You are just blaming Norm Macdonald for everything.
I love Norm McDonald, and I love that character. So it's either the
Got
blob.
it. It's a blob with lips, is what it is.
Yeah,
Oh, so
and a very dirty mind.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
extreme. Every time you see him, he's like
He's trying to pick
macking
on the
on a woman.
So it's sort of an R-rated, that guy from oh God, what's the Pixar movie where the kid is dreaming? Monsters Inc. The little green guy.
Yes.
Kinda, except that for Monsters Inc., Mike has arms and legs.
All right, well, he
But close.
could have had an accident. Poor guy.
Although the blob does have appendages, as we saw in the first
Yeah,
episode.
he's like he like grows an appendage. He's hitting on the doctor. He grows an appendage, and he goes, "There's more for that more for you there where that came from, babe."
Yeah,
And
Hey,
Penny Johnson, who played Cisco's wife in Deep Space Nine, she plays the doctor in this show.
Yeah, she's the one that's always the focus of his attentions.
Uh-huh. So
Not
she's
Alana.
got her harassment suit is brewing. Is that what you're saying?
She tells him to fuck off, basically.
Yeah,
Oh, that
The
works.
security chief is like 24 years old and
a little
Just
tiny girl.
adorable, but she's got like the strength of the Incredible Hulk.
Oh, and
Oh yeah, she's the alien, right?
Yeah, she's one of the
Yeah.
aliens. And every time Seth can't open up a door or,
Yeah,
or something,
I
it's like,
noticed
open this
that.
jar of pickles for me. Every single time. It's a running joke.
It's I caught that one when they were on the Generation ship. He did it like twice.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of a fun little thing that they share back and forth.
Did you catch the Family Guy in joke?
I don't watch Family Guy, so no, I didn't.
Housekeeping.
That wasn't Family
Oh my
Guy.
God! Oh, that gal. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Mr.
maid?
Griffin not here. Yeah.
Yeah. They were going to check out Charlize Theron's quarters, and Adrian Palicki goes, "Housekeeping."
I did catch that, but I don't think that was a Family Guy
No,
thing.
if you watch Family Guy, that's a running joke in Family Guy.
Oh. But I remember it from some other movie. I don't recall what the movie is, but I remember it from something else, though. Right on.
Oh, Mr. Griffin, he no here.
Yes.
Yeah,
that one.
Consuela. Thank you, Robert Reyes.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm really enjoying. And okay, I can't think of his name. The Worf that's not Worf.
Oh yeah, comes from an all male race.
I think it was the episode before this one. Him and his husband or his mate or whatever you want to call him are laying in bed, and they're arguing. And he's
That
like,
was-
"Wait, is that?"
That was
I
at the
couldn't.
very beginning of this episode.
Yeah, what were they arguing about? Was it sex?
Yeah, he has
Okay,
needs,
Bortus, thank you.
and Bortus isn't fulfilling them.
Yeah, those two characters crush me. I laugh so hard with them. The way they look at each other, they're so stiff-necked and everything, the way they have to turn around.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me laugh.
There's a lot to enjoy about the show, that's for sure. I do like them, but I do love the Chilean girl. She's my favorite of the aliens.
Oh, Alara?
Alara, yes.
Oh, I meant to say this last week. We didn't get a chance to talk about it. It was the second episode, I think, or third. Its title was Command Performance, where she was made, or he left her as, gave her the con because they were going over to the ship, and then all that stuff happened. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Okay, repeat that. I was distracted. Sorry.
It was the second or third episode where she was left in command.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I thought at first that whole thing was going to be like a Kobayashi Maru for her, where the captain and the first officer leave, and it was all some kind of like... But then when they got kidnapped for real, obviously, that wasn't the case, but I thought that's where they were going with it at first.
I could see why you got that impression. But it actually was a reference. Some people say to the Cage, but
I thought so.
For me, because I'm an animated series guy, that was straight animated series. Trying to remember the name of the episode. Eye of the Beholder, I think that's what it was. For those who don't know, that episode, Kirk and company are kidnapped by an advanced alien from the future. They're taken far into the future and stored in a zoo for a time. So for me, in that episode, you got to see all the different aliens, which in the Orville there was interaction with the other aliens. So that's why for me it
they all had attitudes.
Yeah, it worked better than the Cage reference. The Cage, we only saw the humans, so for me it didn't quite work as well. It worked better.
Well, see, I really did. I thought it was an homage to the Cage, that part of it, because they chose from their mind the locale. But
not from their mind, they stole it from the computer database.
Yeah, but their apartment.
They took that together. They took that from the computer's database.
But what made me laugh is how easily she just fell into the mode of just living there.
Yeah.
And then their argument about, do you have to eat your cereal so loud? Oh yeah, that was it. And she was like, I can only eat one way. Now I remember why we didn't get along living together, and they started arguing.
Before that, they were getting along quite nicely.
Oh, they got along quite nicely. They did. Okay, I put this on Twitter, and I'm going to say it every week that this show is on the air. Don't care if she slept with a blue guy.
Okay.
But yeah, Janet, I think you'll enjoy it. It's definite. I mean, you'll think of Galaxy Quest. You can't help but think of Galaxy Quest. But it's also very much growing on its own and what I like is the bridge chatter. Questions that they ask each other. Whereas with Star Trek, everything's so formal. With this, you get questions, I think, personally, you would
Can
really
I have
hear.
soda on the bridge? The last captain, he let me have soda on the bridge.
Or like, did he lay an egg? Where did it come from? I don't know. How's that not the first thing you look at? It's just like questions like that. And then, this one made me laugh too. Boom, bitch!
Oh, yeah.
Sit down. Boom. He blew up something. He's like, yeah, that's right. Boom, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Janet, I think you'll enjoy it.
It's fun. I definitely.
It's fun, but yet serious too.
Yeah.
When Seth MacFarlane's captain has to remount someone, there's no joking in there. Plays a good captain. I'll give him that. Although he's an idiot. The only character that's really not an idiot, well, no. Alara's not an idiot. Adrian Palicki. Oh, no, Adrian Palicki has her moments, too. Oh, there was a funny moment, Janet, where she's being tortured in an episode. They're, like, beating her up. And they're trying to find out where the rest of the crew is. And she goes, okay, I'll tell you. We're in a little coffee shop, Soho, off of Central Park, just off of Central Park, called Central Perk. Please,
Central
thanks
Park.
to the monkey.
Yeah,
He has all these callbacks, and they were watching Seinfeld in this episode.
yeah. It was funny.
Very interesting.
The zoo episode, you know, they referenced reality television, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, that was the gift that they to be let go. The security chief gave them like millions of hours of reality television to show the human condition.
Oh my god. Yeah, because that's just so accurate. Oh yeah.
Hey, finally found something useful to do with reality TV. I mean, I was surprised.
Good to know. Very weird.
So, speaking of very weird, let's talk Discovery. And really, what was the pilot episode? It is, but it's not. Okay.
You know, it was
Black
helpful
Alert.
to have the first 2 episodes. No question.
Okay, I have a question about the first 2 episodes, and I'm gonna ask, okay? So in the pilot, in part 1 of the pilot, when they're walking in the desert, the whole reason they're walking and didn't transport down was because they didn't want to contaminate that world because they were using Order Number 1, which I took Prime Directive, to not have that race of little skittering things that they were who they were, right?
Yeah, they were trying to hide their presence. I'm pretty sure that was the case.
So, what better way to hide your presence than first draw a giant delta in the sand and then have your ship come down and get you?
What better way to hide a presence to come down at all?
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, wait a minute, that really didn't make any sense.
They could have fired, you know, torpedoes or freaking
Not into the
phasers.
well.
Why not?
That would be one hell of a shot, Mike.
Yeah, I think they could have.
Remember, their technology isn't as... wait a minute.
Is we don't know that the alien creatures that we saw on that planet were the aliens they were trying not to be seen by. And the delta in the sand, well, that will be destroyed because it's just footprints by the oncoming storm.
Yeah, the sand was impermanent. I got no problem with the you know, the delta in the sand, but
I do.
But yeah, putting them there at all is crazy. But I realize that that's the drama that drives these shows.
All we know is that the water table wasn't able to come to the surface, which was basically causing problems. So for all we know is the aliens they're trying to stay away from and not be seen by were actually living underground and had nothing to do with the creatures that we saw.
So it's Morlocks and Eloy.
Because otherwise, if they were trying to stay away from those creatures, then why go through where all their eggs were? So for me, the aliens they were trying to stay away from, we never actually saw.
Okay.
So basically, you're using headcanon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But it's just the obvious thing to me. It's just they're talking about staying away from somebody. It's just like you see someone walking in a park who are wanting to stay away from people, but yet you only see, I don't know, a dog. You don't think that that planet is full of dogs.
I think he's delirious from the exercise. What?
No, that makes sense. You know, the creatures that we saw aren't necessarily the predominant species or the one that we're trying to help.
So they were like squirrels.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so episode 3, Mike. Let's
Whoa,
start
whoa,
with
whoa,
you
whoa,
because
whoa,
I know.
whoa, hold on,
Whoa,
hold on.
okay, Mike's backing
Back
up.
up.
Beep, 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 beep. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I have 2 problems with that whole scene.
Edith Keeler made the things disappear because she was a temporal agent.
She was a temporal agent, but that's beside the point.
He was not. Mike, I think for the next the book that they do, you really need to write that.
Stop giving me ideas. Okay, so the whole com badge or the delta in the sand thing. It's like there's like this huge storm. Everything's covered with clouds. How the hell did the Shinzu even see it, for one?
Well, the ship would have just come down through the clouds, and then they would have seen the delta that was put into the sand.
Oh, right on cue.
Well, they knew they had a time frame and that the clouds would have been coming in, which would have stopped them from being able to transport for, what was it, 76 years?
And then why even draw the delta in the sand? Why not just hole up until it was time to be transported?
Because, as she said, she drew a star. That was the cue for where the ship needed to go to where they were on the ground.
Yeah, but Mike's saying, why not wait for the storm to go by?
Because the storm's going to take 76 years to go by. That was
that's a lot of time.
They estimated that storm was going to last for decades. That was part of the whole conversation about what would you do if we couldn't get out of the planet.
Okay, I missed that. I will tell you I missed that line because when I was watching it, there were people talking, so I missed that line.
But yeah, that storm was going to last a long time. So while they were waiting for their allotted time slot for them to be overdue, that she drew a star by walking in a delta. Of course,
why
Michael
not just
Burnham,
use the phaser and draw it to that big walk?
because a phaser could have left lasting effects on the ground, whereas footprints would vanish within wind and storms.
Years, 76 years.
But we don't know what chemicals are in the ground. But a phaser could interact with them.
You are really reaching here, Steve.
And it only takes a little bit of heat in order to turn sand into glass. So he does kind of have a point, but still,
Christopher Backer.
Sunseal is even arguing the Prime Directive would have said, let them die, do not interfere in the natural conclusion of a non-warp species.
And if the ship went underneath the cloud cover that was interfering with their sensors and couldn't see them, they probably would have. Christopher Backer on our Facebook feed says, because it was cool, that's why they drew the delta.
Oh, okay. You know what? I stand corrected. And you're absolutely right, Christopher. That's absolutely right.
And the second thing was, why beam down so far away just so you can stroll down that ravine with the egg sacs? I mean, that also didn't quite make any sense, but that is neither here nor there.
Well, often even in the books, they transport a distance away so they can check on what the circumstances are on the ground. You don't always go straight into a location. Even our militaries these days, they tend to...
No, he's right, Mike. We'll land a kilometer or two away and then march stealthily the rest of the way.
And especially if things like that storm are interfering with sensors, then they'll definitely want to make sure they don't just go into something it's just like, oh crap, it shouldn't be here. And especially if they are trying to keep hidden from another species that are on the planet. And
okay.
they had to find the well. That's why she was asking Michael Burnham how far and are they lost, because she had a map of the direction they're supposed to have been headed in.
Now, Snowman Frost says it wasn't the case that Sun says about the Prime Directive because there was an accident caused by the Federation and a mining accident. They were obligated to correct this problem. But if the Federation was mining there, why are they worried then about being seen?
They were mining on a... It was an asteroid accident. Mining on an asteroid, from what I can tell.
Okay.
Although I don't know how mining on an asteroid would dry up all of the water, all the surface water on the planet, but okay.
Well, if the asteroid hit and blew debris into the atmosphere, which had chemicals or whatever in, that could affect their local landscape.
That's possible.
There? Okay. Wow, that was a lot of silence. Okay, so
We were pondering.
let's
we
go
were
to
thinking
episode 3. Now that we picked apart the first 5 minutes of the series.
we just spent longer talking about the first 5 minutes than the first 5 minutes.
I'm just going to say this. I'm so glad Jason Isaac's on this show.
Oh my
He's
God.
just phenom.
He's fantastic.
And let me say this. I'm not taking from Martin Green. I love her. She is playing this role, I think, fantastic. And I thoroughly enjoyed the scene in the chow hall when somebody decided they were going to get a little up, and she said, "I don't think so."
Oh yeah, man. She's she's got that Vulcan martial arts thing going.
Just a lot of wasted food.
Really,
it all gets recycled.
I can never pronounce her name, but the girl that was on Battlestar Galactica, Rekka.
I can't remember how
Sharma,
to say her name.
I think her last name is, right?
Rekka Sharma. I am
so.
just so happy to see her. I loved her on Battlestar Galactica. I just think she was fantastic in Star Trek Continues. I am so happy to... Oh, before I forget, kudos to the Orville. Last week, Liam Neeson. This week, Charlize Theron. Very happy to see that. That just makes me smile. And was Liam Neeson, was there no advance that he was going to be on it? Was that like a surprise when it aired?
I hadn't heard about it.
Mike, do you know?
I do not.
One in the chat room. Was Liam Neeson advertised ahead of time, or was that like a nice surprise when he came on?
I know Charlize Theron, they've been advertising.
Oh, yeah, big time.
So...
Well, she's a major star. I mean, not that Liam Neeson's not, but
he
doesn't do a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
I didn't expect him to ask where his daughter was, though.
I'm just giving you the look right now, Steve. Giving you the look. Steve, we have 2 months left. Okay? For the year of being nice to Steve. Don't. Actually, Steve, realize that after the 24 hours...
I was going to say, technically just a few weeks.
No, I'll still be nice in social media. I don't even know how that started.
To get back to Discovery, to the first,
my fault.
To the third episode. Did you notice Landry seems to have the hots for Lorca?
Landry's the security chief, right?
Yeah, that's Rekka Sharma.
And
I have a whole
where did
theory.
you get that?
I have a whole theory.
There's a point where he says to her, it's towards the end, and he says, "Thank you for beaming it aboard," and she says, "Anytime, Captain, anything you want." She says something like that, and the way she emphasizes it, it sort of, it has the unspoken addition of, "Yeah, anytime you want anything else."
Yeah, it's like anything, anytime, anyway, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Mike, what were you going to say?
Oh, I have a whole theory about this episode, but...
Go ahead.
Edith Keeler.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
No, let's... It's not time yet.
Oh. All right.
We will add no theory before it's time.
We haven't established enough dots for me to make connections yet, so go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to come up with the thing I rail against, a fan nitpick critique.
Okay.
All right, so for the Discovery... Oh, hi, Mochi. For the Discovery. It looks cool, the saucer section, but why the fuck do you have this empty space? Hey, nothing says it's going to be easy to get to a section of the ship if there's a problem more than just these little spokes on a wheel look.
I have a theory about that. It's a science
Because
ship.
it can easily be contained because it's a science ship?
Yep, they drop out the centerpiece, and the same as we've seen, the original Enterprise was also supposed to have saucer separation, so you can separate both saucer sections, and in the center part you can also drop that out. So if that's got all the labs, if something happened in there, you drop that, you save the rest of the saucer.
Interesting. Yeah, that you could
An
that
explosion
you could
in
just
the-
get rid of the other stuff. Yeah.
An explosion in the outer ring does not infect the core of the ship.
Yeah, because in that core section is where you've got the bridge, so that could drop down. Then the outer rings can be ejected with the saucer section to actually get out the way. That's got all the labs and all the other things, because they said they can have, what was it, up to 300 science projects going at a time.
I'll buy that. I'll accept that. I still think it's silly. I think it was designed more for the, ooh, this looks cool to have this empty space. That's just me, though. You know what I thought was interesting? The prisoners. You get the feeling because when he goes, look at all the silver or look at all the gold? And
Okay.
they said it's a science ship. Now, were they supposed to be just like civilians, or because she was the only Starfleet person, right?
Her cousin was in Starfleet.
No, but I mean of the prisoners.
Yeah, they were civilians. She was the only Starfleet. She was the only one of them with the Delta. Michael Burnham.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, because
she had a different jumpsuit as well. A bit like what we have in Stowe.
Yeah, here was my thing. If one of you three were to be a prisoner and taken to a military base, I don't think you would know what the different insignia mean.
I know I wouldn't. I would probably just comment on, yeah, look at all the insignia, but not really know what they are.
It depends what it's in for. If they could have been in Starfleet at one point, but just no longer. Because it's like, if you're serving and you get sent, you commit a crime, you're sent to a military prison. But if you go out of the military, then commit a crime, you go to civilian prison. So they could have always been someone who was in Starfleet or had family in Starfleet or parents, so they know the ranks and uniforms and things like that.
One of the girls did say that she had a cousin in Starfleet.
Right, and here's another thought that I had, and then I'm going to get into something that somebody posted on social media, which sensed me. But so Michael Burnham is this, I guess you could say, quasi-celebrity because she's been tried and convicted of mutiny. Everybody seems to know who she is. Everybody. Which means that their news organization is fantastic. Federation News. But, saw the crew of the Enterprise do things just as bad. And frankly, I don't think her, quote, mutiny was that horrific. Nerve pinched her captain and everything, but they keep saying she started the war. No, she really didn't.
She was trying to save the war.
They were going to fight no matter what.
I think she's a scapegoat. I think that's what they really want.
Right.
Is for her to be the one to blame.
Yeah, she didn't toe the line and do things the Federation way. She did things the way that the Klingons would have respected, which could have probably saved them from going into war, which is the whole point about the Vulcan hello.
Which, by the way, Vulcan hello, I have that. That's a Vulcan love slave title. But anyway, I'll tell you, that resonates a lot with me. In a way that I would come home and say, well, why did you do this and why did you do that? because the people in the Middle East have a different way of doing things. And the way we got things done was by adapting to their way. Now, I'm not saying go in and raise a village kind of thing, but you know what I'm talking about is sometimes you have to adapt to the culture that you're in. And she understood that. And so that resonates with me maybe on a different scale than others. Like, one of the interesting things, and it's not comparable, but to me in mind it's kind of a comparable thing, is when I would go to the Middle East and we would be able to go shopping like in a marketplace. Americans are never comfortable haggling, whereas there you have to haggle.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and women in particular, we're really taught to just accept whatever you get.
And so, like, I to this day I still have something I bought in Kuwait. It's a little case that you put your iPod in or your phone or whatever, but it's also speakers. So, but it's a hard case, and I still carry it to this day. They wanted $20 for it. I was like, okay, and the Kuwaiti shopkeeper was actually, no, you haggle. And that was really hard for me as an American to do. Because, well, that's the price. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
eventually got it for 10. Kind of taught me how to haggle. And to be that, no, I'm going to walk away. As a matter of fact, at one point he was like, walk away. Not the shopkeeper himself, but another Kuwaiti that was standing next to me. He was like, walk away. I said, what? He said, turn around and start to walk away. So I did, and the shopkeeper was like, no, my friend, come back, I will meet you. You know, the whole thing. So it was a really interesting process to learn how to do.
It's well, I think it kind of comes around with how cars are purchased in America. It's one of the and houses too. Those are the only places I know of where it's regular common practice where you're
Flea
supposed to haggle.
markets.
Flea markets, thank you. There's another one. I
Yeah.
mean, we had a lawyer, when we bought the house because, to look over the documents, and he told us how to haggle. He said, okay, they're asking for this, you offer that, and if we hadn't had him, we would have just said, oh, asking price, sure, we'll pay that.
And isn't it funny that on our own planet, different cultures are so different in the way just that they purchase something?
Gesturing in our world is
yeah.
is all over the place. How what happens when you nod, what happens when you point, what happens when you point with two fingers, that sort of thing.
Use the
Even
left
just
hand,
all
not
these
the right
changes.
hand, because
or even just showing your bare feet.
yes, yeah, it's amazing. So I forgot how we even got into this, but yeah, so that was just interesting to me, the differences. But so where were we, Mike? Where were we?
Discovery. We were
Yeah, Discovery with Burnham, and that
the
he
prisoners.
actually was trying to prevent the war from starting.
Oh yeah.
And so I don't know. Yeah, you're right, that the whole scapegoat thing. But again, would they necessarily tell the entire universe that did this?
Plausible
You know-
deniability. It was a lone gunman, not a conspiracy of a larger nature, which I will get to in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is they need to explain over 2,000 deaths in 6 months. So using her as a scapegoat for the one who started the war, even though she was the one that could have actually
Tried to
prevented
prevent
it if she actually was able to do what she ended up trying to do.
Now, said Christopher Baca. Thank you, Christopher, for being so involved. The saucer design has something to do with the spore drive. The console Stamets was working on indicate that the rings may spin. I did not catch that. Now, Mike, I know you watch it like 40 times. Did you catch that?
I did not catch that. But for me, that wasn't
I
quite
asked
as
Mike
important.
asked Mike a question about Orville, and he was like, "Hold on, I'm halfway through my first rewatch."
Yeah. And it was about the leg, and
No, it was about the end. It's about his reaction at the end. Because I thought that she never existed in the timeline.
That's right, it was. But you had to start off the conversation.
Laughing about the leg.
Yeah, laughing about the leg. Okay, so what were we talking about on Discovery?
Burnham,
yeah, and scapegoating her,
and the rings spinning.
Oh yeah, the ship I don't really pay that much attention to. I mean, that's not what I enjoy Star Trek for. So I didn't really notice whether or not it spins, but the scapegoat, having her be the scapegoat. I mean, let's just say if there was an agency that was looking for a reason to start a war.
Not 30 and not 32?
Yeah, that would be kind of correct. But yeah. So yeah, I have a feeling this war was orchestrated in lots of ways.
Maybe there's also something that was sort of protecting the admiral who died. That there was some way that they're trying to kind of save his, his posthumous reputation, because after all, he's a part of this too. He should have been really the one responsible for everything because he's a senior officer on the scene, right?
Yeah, but he showed up later. I mean, a lot of what was going on was already underway by the time he got on. By the time he showed up. So he was more reacting to what was happening rather than in any position to cause or affect what was happening. In fact, the shooting had already started by the time he showed up on the scene.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're right.
In fact,
and then there's the black
he was
badges.
The last one to show up. In fact, so.
And then there's the black badges.
Mm-hmm. Lots of theories going around about those.
Yeah, they're interesting, if nothing else.
They actually look pretty cool, but
yeah.
Thing is, for us, we tend to think Section 31, but they could just be sort of private military contractors. They're now at a state of war. They're trying to get more people in with thousands of deaths. That they've got people providing security that aren't fully Starfleet.
I don't see that.
I don't think so. They wouldn't be wearing a Starfleet Delta if they were just private security.
Yeah, because the private contractors don't wear our uniforms.
See, this also goes back to my theory. So I guess I'll all
right, hold on.
It.
Go ahead and give me 1 second. I have to go grab.
Okay. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Lorca's Menagerie. You want to talk about that real quick?
Kind of the Chamber of Horrors in a way too.
Yes.
The Gorn skeleton is interesting. Certainly, it's intimidating because, after all, they are a sentient species,
and at this point, mostly unknown.
Right. I mean, well, if you consider canon, the only time we've seen a Gorn in canon that we know of on screen is in the Mirror, actually. Preceding this in the timeline. That's the only time we see it is fighting actually Reed in the MU episodes on Enterprise. So whatever history they've got with this species is off camera, or we haven't seen it yet, or we don't know it yet.
After Trek, the after show that talks about the episode, it was pretty much revealed that he may have purchased it from like a flea market or bazaar.
Yeah.
He may not have direct contact with the Gorn. Rather, he came across it through some other means. Is more likely how he grabbed it.
He could even, to sort of dovetail with canon, he could even technically think maybe this is a Xindi reptilian skeleton and not even realize it's a different species.
Thing is, for me, I saw the skeleton, but my eyes were drawn further down to the desk where I saw 2 Cardassian voles.
Yeah, those were there.
Tribble.
As well as the Tribble.
Was that the same Tribble that was on his desk?
No,
that Tribble gets around if it is.
But the Tribble that was on his desk is actually being dissected. It's partway through being dissected. It looks like it's been opened up by some apparatus.
In his ready room?
No, this is
in his
collection.
menagerie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was thinking maybe it was the same Tribble from his ready room.
It could be, but it could also be that.
Or he breeds raises it to a certain size and then starts cutting it open to see what makes the Tribbles ticks. Which also goes towards a thing that some of this war with the Klingons was staged or at least known about. Because if he's looking at Tribbles as a way to combat the Klingons, because we know that Tribbles don't like Klingons.
And vice versa. Well, maybe it's maybe it's what they serve in the cafeteria on Thursdays.
All right.
All right. So, Mike, your theory.
My conspiracy theory.
Yes, that Emma Frost. What?
What?
Wow.
Edith Keeler.
Emma Frost. And suddenly the X-Men are involved in Discovery.
Edith Keeler's behind it all.
Actually, that bitch gets around.
Yeah, temporal agents. What I believe is going on is the galaxy as a whole, at large, they view the Discovery as a standard science vessel. However, it's
a new class too, right?
What was that?
It's a new class, right?
It's
Isn't it a brand new ship?
Yes, it's a new class of science vessel for the Federation. So that's what everyone.
Because the prisoner said not even a scratch on it on the floor.
That's what the galaxy at large is supposed to see. But I believe their primary mission is actually for not Section 31, for Starfleet intelligence. I believe for Starfleet intelligence, they're an advanced research vessel working on their war effort, kind of like what they've said. The Black Badges are actually Starfleet intelligence officers, SI, and they're there to make sure that things are going fairly well. And I believe that there are probably only 2 people on the entire ship that are actually working for Section 31. And one of those 2, Lorca, and I was debating whether it was the security officer. I was thinking could be the security officer, but at the same time,
I always had a thing for her.
Yeah, she's a lovely woman. But I'm also thinking perhaps she's just, what she comes off as is just a security officer that's kind of enamored with her captain, which is not something that's not unexpected. So, but I believe there's one other person on the ship that may be working for Section 31.
If you tell me it's that idiot scientist guy.
Stamets.
No, there's no way. He's straight up Starfleet at this point. He's not even Section 30 or Starfleet intelligence. He's at the bottom of the totem pole. It's not Stamets. Let's see. Okay, so Sun says if there was anyone else that was Section 31, it'd be Lorca's CMO. which we have not met yet. So that may be a possibility, but there was on my latest rewatch, there was that scene with Burnham and Saru, and the conversation going on between them. The last thing that they say to each other in that scene, she asks him, "What is going on the ship?" And I had the feeling that he knew too much. He knows more than obviously he knows more than what he's revealing, but I had just had an inkling that perhaps he knows what's going on. And the fact that he was on the Shinzu and he was pushing so hard to not fire as well, which is the Starfleet thing, but knowing that that could have been the ramifications for not acting, it would be eventual war. I'm thinking that he might be working with Section 31, and he's his whole he's got those little feelers in the back of his neck that stand up whenever he gets like panicky. They have a name, threat ganglia, according to After Track, but and we'll see that in the next episode apparently. But
well, we saw it in that one.
Yeah, we saw them,
but they'll be named then, right?
They'll be named in the next episode.
Okay.
It was in the trailer that they played on After Track, which is one of the only reasons why I watch After Track is for like the interviews and I hate the host. Anyways, I'm getting off track. The reason why he reacts so negatively towards her is because she's in a position. She's probably the one person that can actually disrupt all of their plans, that can reveal the fact that it's all Section 31 setup, that he and Lorca are working together for Section 31, trying to get not only get the war going, but in order to develop some of this technology that would put the Federation in a much stronger position, for the next 50, 100 years. Imagine having the fungi drive. So I know they call it the spore drive, but I because of Stamets, his personality, I just it's sarcastic, but I'm going to call it the fungi drive from here on out. Yeah, so that's kind of my theory, my hypothesis at this point.
Having read, gone.
I just want to answer some stuff here.
Okay.
Our resident contrarian hater, Snowman Frost, says a couple of things. He says, if Lorca is considered a great strategic and tactical mind, why is he away from the front lines? The same way we had General Petraeus leave Iraq and go write new doctrine for a year in Kansas, because his mind doing other things to help. And why destroy the USS Glenn? It looked in pretty good shape. Well, you know what? I saw some Abrams tanks that looked in pretty good shape but had to be destroyed because they were inoperable. And that ship had some really bad things going on the inside of it, and you don't know, so there you go.
I don't think Saru has, based on what's done in Desperate Hours.
I haven't read that yet.
Yeah, I don't think. I know, even though David Mack worked a lot with the writers of the show, I know it's still not actual canon, but because of the relationship they had with the writers and based on what you get to know of Saru in that book, I think when you do get to read Desperate Hours, you won't think he's involved in Section 31.
Well, we'll see.
Now, there were some things that I saw that I actually jotted notes, Mike.
Wow.
Now, a cause of love or hate so far that I've seen on social media. What'd y'all think of Michael Burnham's roommate, the cadet?
I love Tilly.
I love her. Finally, someone who has allergies. Woohoo!
People love her or hate her.
Reed also had allergies, by the way. I think that she's appropriately awkward. One thing that Trek has done kind of weirdly, which is that everybody just sort of accepts everybody else really fast. And while the IDIC, the future, yada yada yada, tell me another one, folks. Human personalities are not necessarily going to change, and even if everybody tries to be that way, it doesn't mean that everybody succeeds that way. So I really like the fact that she felt a little weird about it, even though she was trying too hard, and of course at the same time Michael feels weird about it as well.
I will admit a little part where I not giggled, but just kind of like laughed a little bit was we have assigned stations. And then, what are you doing standing here? It's not like we have assigned stations.
I know. Damn it.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Totally ratted her out.
And then the look on Tilly's face. Like, oh boy.
Crap. Yeah.
Now, somebody I saw on social media, and I saw this and something else on the same day. This started my, oh, please get over your fucking self, was they just needed to make Tilly a fat girl to complete stereotype.
What?
What?
No.
Oh, come on.
I've seen a couple people on social media say, and I can see it. She's on the spectrum. Asperger's possibly, but she's got a little bit of autism going there.
I think she's just an excited cadet.
I mean, that's certainly a possibility, but I don't know.
Remember Bashir when he first got to Deep Space Nine? Practicing frontier medicine and pissing off Maurice with that saying, and how everything to him was the newest, most exciting thing in the world.
A bit like Carrie Kim.
Yeah.
And then Wesley in
Yeah,
TNG.
but Wesley was much more unflappable than her, you got to admit. The way they wrote Wesley was he was just like, he rolled with the punches, where Tilly, everything is exciting and new and oh my god, this is so cool.
For a moment there, I thought you were going to sing Love Boat.
Exciting and new, come aboard. We're expecting you, everybody. The love, everybody. The love, everybody. The love boat.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
With the triples.
Oh, son. The other thing that I saw. Are you ready? Strap yourselves in. Discovery is racist.
What?
Because the captain is a white male and he was talking down and lecturing Burnham, so it's racist. Because she's a black woman.
He's her superior officer.
Doesn't matter. They made him a white man, a privileged white man. Once again, the white man is in control and lecturing a black woman.
I think the response to that isn't the last name Lorca of Spanish origin?
Doesn't matter.
So,
he's still.
So wouldn't he be
he's still not
Latino?
a person of color. He's not though.
And his family had a Chinese food restaurant.
This is a black woman being lectured and being looked down upon by everyone. So therefore it's racist. This is an actual thread I saw. We're to the point now where Trek fans have gotten to the point where unless it's a woman and a woman of color, of some kind of color, it's racist. There can be no more white men cast ever in Star Trek because we need to have that kind of, quote, representation. Chew on that. This is where we've gotten.
When you need a triple facepalm.
This is where we've gotten to, people. This is how out of whack we've gotten that now just taking an amazing actor like Jason Isaacs and having him say anything negative to a woman or a woman of color is racist. You know, because it would never happen in the military. Especially to somebody convicted of mutiny.
Jeez.
No, Snowman Frost, that's not what I'm saying. I didn't say I don't like the idea that she's a scapegoat. What I said is I don't like the idea that every single person in the universe knows about it. I guess they're going for a Bo Bergdahl kind of thing. But it's still, it just doesn't seem like anybody knows her side of it from the trial.
As if that part was suppressed.
Yeah.
And it probably was. That's why.
And what'd they do? Put out a press release that she was convicted of mutiny, and that's all they put out? Can you imagine if our military put out a press release that a first officer on a Navy aircraft carrier was convicted of mutiny and sentenced, but that's all they put out?
Well, and maybe what it could be potentially is that they run her trial. It's secret. I mean, after all, there's the dark lighting, but also that's the design sensibility of the series. And the only thing
that was very anti-Starfleet.
Yeah, and but that the only thing that's released to the public as a news story is the results of the hearing. That the hearing itself is not subject to public scrutiny, which we kind of do these days with minors. She's obviously not a minor, but there is a precedent for keeping the entire trial or hearing secret and only releasing the results of it to the press.
Which could explain the lighting, because if that was being aired, then they didn't want the people delivering the sort of the punishment, because in most countries, mutiny and turn you back against your country.
Treason.
Treason, thank you. Are still punishable by death. So if that could have been an option for the judgment as well, that could explain the lighting, and that was then broadcast out. But the trial, because it involved what went on, could have been restricted because they are now at war with the Klingons.
Are we just looking too deep into this?
More than likely. We're Trekkies.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's what we do.
Now, did you... there were also people that had problems with Commander Rekka. What's her character's name again?
Ellen Landry.
Landry. With how she greeted the prisoners. I had zero problem with that at all. She's the chief of security, greeting these prisoners. I had no problem with her saying garbage or anything like that. And somebody was like, well, that's not very Trek. And I was like, really? Let me give you a name. Ro Laren. How was she treated when she came on board the Enterprise?
Or even Tom Paris.
Yeah,
Tom Paris.
Yeah, these are similar kind of story arcs. The only thing that was missing is she didn't call them maggots.
Yeah. And she's a hardcore head of security, so I didn't really have a problem with that. Of course, again, it's Rekka Sharma. I could, but I didn't have a problem. These were now. Hey, did they rescue the pilot?
No, the pilot dies.
Yeah, that's not very. And here's my other
They didn't
thing.
show it, but she probably would have been beamed straight to sickbay.
Here was my other problem, and this is nitpicky, but I'm a Trek fan. So you're transporting prisoners, and all you have is a pilot, not even a guard?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, that's weird. Well, and that also kind of gives a little credence to the idea that it's all a setup, which I think Burnham's absolutely right that it was a setup.
Because even Burnham says, even before we hit the storm, this shuttle was diverted.
Yeah.
And there's no paperwork for it. He had been expecting her.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good call, Steve.
And she she wasn't even supposed to leave the prison colony that she was at. She was completely taken surprised by the transfer. So this was all done probably last minute, uh, behind the scenes. Just let's get her on a shuttle and get her into Lorca's hands as quickly as possible.
The thing is, Lorca, the entire episode is testing her. And I think the whole thing with the shuttle being in distress, after rewatching it several times, was actually one of those tests to see what she does. Does she try and escape? We saw all the other prisoners trying to get out of her handcuffs, but she's resigned to basically dying because she thinks she deserves that. And just like in the mess hall, I think the security chief antagonized the other prisoners to say, and was saying things so that when Burnham actually came to the table, they then attempted to sort of get her. And all these other things.
Oh yeah, I definitely thought that was a setup to see how she would react.
Because like the other security personnel went to get up and she turned around and went, nope.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Everything in that episode, I think, was her being tested. And that was between the security chief and the captain.
So do you think the security chief is more than likely the other person in on it?
Yes, definitely. Those two together, no matter, because we know that the ship is new, so the crew is new. We know people like Stamets has been brought in to do things with the ship and the new drive, which he really doesn't want to. He even argues with the captain because he's basically one of these people who would have been on a star base just doing sort of science experiments and things like that. Is not one of those personnel that sort of serves on ships.
He reminds me
he's
of that
been
kid.
drafted.
He reminds me in that kid in the Voyager episode, their lower decks version, that was happy being in the bottom of the Voyager. Yeah, the Good Shepherd in the bottom of the ship because he didn't even want to be on it. He would rather have been at a starbase working on engineering stuff.
Yeah. You know, I wonder if the whole diversion of the prison shuttle was semi last minute, because that's kind of the moment Lorca knew what was going on. That's when he said, okay, I want this I want to sort of, see if I can get this person on my ship. That maybe it took him a little while to get debriefed, or maybe it took him a while to read everything on her file, or maybe he wasn't told until a little bit later that, or he suddenly got the idea, hey, this would be somebody I could use. That maybe some of the timing is because either he was too busy or it just took him a while to read some of the stuff that was on her.
What is, now I realize we're only 3 episodes in, what is his end game?
He's claiming that he's going to end the war, and he's claiming that he's looking for a faster way to fly. He wants immortality of some sort. I think that the stuff with his eyes, I think the spores are in his eyes.
Wait, what?
I think he has some of the spores in his eyes. I think that's the problem with his eyesight.
What was it that he said? What caused the damage to his eyes?
I think he just said that he had some accident. I don't think he went into any detail with it.
Yeah, he just said that it was an injury. But basically he has to have the lighting adjusted slowly. So basically a bright light would have problems.
If they're in his brain, wouldn't that be interesting that they're driving what's going on? It's these tiny things that are smaller than your pinky fingernail are the ones that are driving his actions. Plot buddy! Fanfic!
Mike? Did we lose Mike?
No, I'm still here. I didn't... I don't know what we're talking about. Sorry.
Not all.
Lorca's eyes.
Lorca's eyes. Janet thinks that possibly the spores are in his eyes, and that's what's causing his, and maybe even in his brain.
Oh, I heard that. But I thought we were addressing something else. No, I think the close up of his eye was just another CBS All Access logo Easter egg.
But you're really stuck on that one, aren't you?
They're everywhere.
I did notice that after you pointed it out.
They're everywhere.
After you said that, when I watched this episode, and by the way, I want to give a shout out to Mike. He knows why, but I couldn't be discussing Discovery otherwise. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Don't mention it.
Yeah, he. What do you think his end game is?
Oh, that's what it was. His end game. I think what I think is he's working for Section 31, and what Section
You're convinced
31,
of that, right?
I'm convinced of it. What Section 31's ultimate goal is for the Federation to come out of whatever situation on top. Okay, so and to come out stronger for it. So what I think his end game is, the Klingon War. It was a means to an end. The research projects that they're doing, again, is a means to an end, and that is to be able to, assuming that the spore drive, or the fungi drive, as I like to call it, is actually a thing and not some weird diversion. Assuming that it is a real thing, that in itself will give the Federation unprecedented power, being able to instantly be anywhere and practically anywhere. That in itself would be the end goal. That would give the Federation unprecedented power, put them in a position to dominate for the next at least 50 to 100 years, if not longer. And that is what Section 31 wants above all else. And if he is a Section 31, that is his end goal. So, if you can move a fleet of ships over a planet, or and attack, and by the time anyone realizes what's going on and is able to respond, you are gone. Come on, that is a formidable weapon, no matter what, right?
Of course, it may not be Section 31. We know through Jonathan Frakes, the Mirror Universe, and we know from other episodes of the Mirror Universe, they are a lot more violent and prone to war. So they may have weapons that he's interested in. And the spore drive may not be just within our dimension. So it could actually take him and the ship to other dimensions. A quick way to get in, grab technology that will help fight the wars for the Federation, and get back.
What if the guys with the black badges are Mirror Universe people somehow brought over?
Yeah. Because and that's also one of the storylines in one of Kirsten Byers' novels as well, with people being brought over from other dimensions and timelines. So it may not even involve Section 31. But what I love about Star Trek Discovery is the fact this is one big storyline. So we don't get like we've had with traditional Trek, which is the main storyline is over and done with within a single episode. There's no full wrap-up, although each episode has its own mini storyline. Literally the entire season.
Did they just extend the season 2, I thought I read?
No, they did some episode shuffling.
Okay, so there's not extra episodes?
They haven't announced any extra episodes. It's still going to be 15, but they took one from the beginning of what was supposed to be Chapter 2 and moved it to the beginning, or to the end of Chapter 1.
I think they just extended what's being shown before the break.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they just shuffled, and for me, I'm wondering how they're able to do that. If they're trying to tell one story per chapter, essentially, right? I'm just curious to see how they're able to shuffle episodes around. It just seems a little odd. unless they're just using the first episode from the previous chapter or the next chapter as a teaser. I don't know, maybe, but I don't know.
Maybe they've got extras or something else that they're going to put into the second half that that they've had the chance to either film or maybe to gather from additional footage, or maybe they had thought they were going to add them. You know, they sort of were on the fence about that, and now they've decided they're going to add them.
Yeah,
Okay,
I thought about that too. That perhaps there's more to the story than what they originally had planned, and they needed the extra episode, maybe.
Okay, there's a thing going on in the chat room about the mirror universe. The mirror universe was not known in Enterprise. Those 2 episodes were totally self-contained. Our crew, Prime Universe, did not know about the mirror universe. That was almost like 2 episodes of a separate a mirror universe series put in just as a little break. It was not known by the Prime crew.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we do know from those episodes that the Mirror Universe had access to stuff from Kirk's timeline and time frame.
Right, because the
so it's more
went over.
Yep,
yeah,
exactly. So they had basically future technology 100 or so years beforehand. So if with this new spore drive, they've also been able to go across the dimensional tear to the mirror universe, they've seen that they have futuristic technology, which is even more advanced than what they have now, because they adapted what was then to the mirror universe future tech. They've had 100 years to expand on that. So that's why they want to go over to the mirror universe to basically steal back ideas that were based on their own current level of technology.
The thing is, the mirror universe has never really been from that episode. Their technology isn't really all that more advanced. If anything, it's probably less advanced. If they had to get tech from the future in order to even compete, I suspect. I mean, really, the only technology they seem to really focus on is things that deliver pain, and things that are used to control, their population. So,
well, the thing is, we only see a limited amount of their technology, and of course,
true.
After Spock meets our versions, he then encourages peace. But then, of course, we then get the Alliance that take over that. So then, when it comes to what we see in Deep Space Nine and that, their technology would have probably fallen behind, because the Alliance would have been at that point where they're trying to get to grips with all the technology and everything else. So there would have then been, whereas the Mirror Universe would have had a big step up to begin with because of the Defiant, they then go backwards a little bit, and then our universe catches up.
Well, what could be, I mean, keep in mind that they know that the spore drive works, and they've actually used it, and because he gives her a little taste of this. Well, what if they were kind of going along in the spore travel, and they sort of spin the big wheel and keep being moved from place to place, and perhaps time to time, and dimension to dimension, and timeline to timeline. That could be where they're seeing the mirror universe. And if they're seeing their current mirror universe, the year's like, what, 2230, something like that? If they're seeing the current mirror universe, then they're seeing whatever's left of the Defiant, or whatever was taken from the Defiant, because, I mean, and I admit this, a lot of this is my own headcanon, but the way that I've always written the mirror universe is that they steal tech. They'll just go in and take it. And whatever advantage they've got, they're going to keep it. So if anybody tries to copy what the Defiant is, they're going to either buy them out or conquer them, or they're going to destroy them, because they've got to keep that edge in order to keep their empire.
I can agree with that.
But the thing is, just because they're trying to get this technology, whether it is Section 31 or whatever plan they've got, it doesn't mean that what we actually see throughout this series will actually work. So whether it is Mirror Universe, Section 31, or something completely different, it could be by the end of all this time, their original plan just doesn't work and they have to end up figuring something else out.
It's going to be another transwarp drive from Star Trek. What was it? 3.
I mean, yeah, that could be it. That it just plain doesn't work, and because all this stuff is top secret, of course, it's not going to be shared with anybody, including their failures.
Well, I do want to talk about the support drive when you guys have an opportunity.
Sure.
So, Terry had mentioned that she thought that this was similar to Iconian technology.
Love the Preserver Monument, by the way, in the travel around.
Yes.
That was on Romulus, you mean?
Well, he said Romulus, but I don't think that she was actually on Romulus because he said Andoria and I didn't see any snow.
Oh,
he said Andorian moon is
Yeah.
what he said when that bit flashed up with the Preserver monument. That bit,
right.
He'd actually said the Andorian moon, so the moon could have a different environment than, of course, the cold of Andoria.
So, the fungi drive,
the FD,
the fungi drive,
the FUD drive, yes.
What the lattice that they refer to that the spores interact with, totally fits in with the description or the theory, or the hypothesis that we have for the description of dark energy, a lattice that holds that connects the universe together. It's responsible for the acceleration, the ongoing acceleration of the universe itself. So, to me, the fungi drive somehow interacts with dark energy, and it's kind of like a plane in a jet stream, or like a boat on a riptide. It just grabs it and just flings it a lot faster than what it should do normally. That's what I think is going on there.
Unless it's working the same sort of way that the Iconian mirrors and transport things worked. So unless they're sort of tapping in.
How do we know that isn't how that works as well?
Exactly. That's the sort of point I was trying to make, is we don't know if we're sort of on the verge of hitting what the Iconians had. But of course, the fact that we don't have it in the future, again, goes back to what I was saying, that it can go terribly wrong and it's just dumped.
Or it's something that Section 31 has confiscated and is using for themselves only.
Yeah.
Because in DS9, we have seen Section 31 appear practically out of nowhere. We've seen them kidnap and transfer, Bashir pretty far. So, who's not to say that this isn't how they developed that tech? We don't know that, and that's the thing. What we do know is this is tech that Starfleet as a whole, in general, doesn't possess. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and it's not in Section 31's hands later. But, anyways, more conspiracy theory.
Thing is, with so many hours of Trek and so much fanfic out there and books, I think we could go through so many different sort of storylines that we could all just make up very easily. And the thing is, it can go in absolutely any direction. And the thing is, well, you just need to have a look with what Kirsten Beyer did with the Voyager novels. She's very good at picking just a small thread from just a single series and just blowing it up to something completely different. So it's going to be interesting to see where this all leads.
Real quick, Snowman Frost in the chat room, he says that something about my page, I have to refresh. Says something about it taps into mycelium. Mycelium is the vegetative part of a fungus. It's part of the plant itself, so it's not the lattice, it's not the network, it's not dark energy makes more sense as a network, as the lattice that holds and binds the universe together. It's almost the force, isn't it? It almost comes across as the force, doesn't it? Crossing the streams now.
I'm sorry, Robert Reyes was doing a play on F Troop, so I was kind of impressed by the red sweater. He says they call it a network.
Which works for, dark energy as well. So, like I said, that's the best way, based on my level of current understanding of our physics. That's the only thing that kind of makes the most sense.
I think this is all Q's doing.
The specific type of fungus that they're using is supposed to be a type of fungus that can travel through space. So again, catching some kind of riptide, stellar riptide or jet stream, based on my understanding, aka dark energy, that makes sense. And what they were saying about panspermia, how life travels from one place to another across this network or this lattice. Yeah, dark energy makes the most sense based on our current understanding.
Well, I think now we know why there's a transwarp, why they can, in the JJ universe, transport at warp speed, because in that universe this worked.
That's an interesting theory too. Well, that's what this whole storyline, I think, is about, is that you have every point is potentially different. Like when we think of like a point, we don't even necessarily think about it as three-dimensional, but it's actually more than that, because it's it could be so much. I'm not explaining this very well, but there's all these ways you can go. Okay, I mean, let's forget the point argument. Let's talk about today. Okay, I'm wearing a blue shirt today. In another universe, I'm wearing a red one. In another universe, I'm wearing a green one. In another universe, I'm not wearing a shirt at all. I'm wearing a dress. And there's a billion others, and in a lot of them I don't exist. In a lot of them I'm not doing this. In a lot of them I'm having a different conversation. In a lot of them I don't speak English.
And in one of them you've only got 1 degree.
I'm sorry?
And in one of them you've only got 1 degrry.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening in any universe, let me tell you.
But you know what I mean. It's that if there's an infinite number of possibilities, and there's an infinite number of possibilities for each moment, for each individual, for every cell in every individual's body. But that's mind-blowing right there.
I think what we need to do is all get together with a big fatty, pass it around, and discuss that.
Or just pop some magic mushrooms and let's go for a ride.
Now Mike's talking about a party. Magic mushrooms, a fatty, and some absinthe.
When we die,
and you'll find us in our regular suite at the local hospital.
And we'll look like the crew of the Glen.
Oh my god! It's a way to lose weight, okay?
Hey, what was with the Klingon shushing them?
I thought that action was a little too human.
Well, but what was the Klingon doing on the ship?
Oh, they kind of explained that.
Oh, that's right. They boarded it.
They boarded it after the fact because they saw a Klingon a Federation ship floating without life signs.
That's right.
Now, of course,
and they paid for that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the Klingons got attacked by this big monster. I say in
Mike,
quotes.
Mike, what was it you were calling it?
It's a tardigrade. Tardigrade.
I think
That's
it
what
is.
it
I
is.
think it is too, actually.
And for those that don't
It's
know what that is,
supersized.
A tardigrade is a real creature. They're tiny. They're really tiny. I don't think they're microscopic. I don't think they're quite that small. They are.
I do think you need a microscope to see them.
Okay, they're very weird. They're very different from what we think of as a standard body type, is a trunk with a head, possibly a tail, and 4 or 6 or 8 limbs. Well, they've got kind of a weird number of limbs. We're also used to seeing like the bifocal eyes kind of thing. They have more like a snout, which is exactly what this creature's got. But the other thing about tardigrades is they're extremely hard to kill. They are they're extremophiles.
They can survive in space.
Yes.
In the vacuum.
And they can survive in very hot climates and very cold ones.
I really, really wanted a shout out to Alien when they were going through and somebody to go, "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty."
Well, they did name the thing Kitty.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Look
Yeah.
at Sensei-All. Sensei-All taking over for Matthew Anderson. Yeah, you know what?
Yes,
that
that's
is
a target. Isn't
exactly
that
what
perfect?
it looked like.
I'm telling you, that's a fucking tardigrade, and that's
Is
also
that an actual
interesting.
picture of one?
Oh,
Yeah.
Because that looks plastic around the nose. Is that its teeth?
Yeah, it doesn't look real. They're so different from what we're used to. They're so incredibly different. And so if that's what we've got here, then they've got another problem, which is making things bigger than what they are. But that also, doesn't that tie in perfectly
you know what? Sign
to
me up for
Alice in
that.
Wonderland?
Oh,
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
her-
there was a
yes.
lot of that Alice in Wonderland references, and
Yeah, you know what? It was nice not to have Shakespeare referenced, but to something else.
Oh my God, yeah.
Going back
And
to
I'm not even being
drinking.
smart about that. I really thought. Oh, by the way, the line that most people loved the most in that show. Holy shit, it worked.
Yes. I not only that she swore because it makes perfect sense because you're under stress, but also that she didn't really know if it was going to work or not, and that she's surprised that it did is fantastic because we've seen way too much Trek where everybody knows
Perfection.
the answer immediately.
And you know what? I give credit. I'm just going to say TNG, DS9, Voyager, any of those, they would have gone into such technobabble about the spore drive. This, I
Yeah.
think, was, and I don't want to use the term dumbed down, but this was much more
They left it open.
accessible.
they opened it to the imagination.
Yeah.
Let people figure it out. It's more like what they did with TOS than what they did with TNG in
Yeah.
terms of this.
Now, Snowman
describing
Frost
the
says
death.
it was confirmed by Isaacs it was a tardigrade.
I don't know about that, but because he mentioned Isaacs, I wanted to mention tonight. Obviously, is the new episode of Discovery, and then afterward is the new episode of the after show after Trek. Isaacs is going to be there. 2 of the producers and I want to say Doug Jones. I think Doug Jones is also going to be there. So it's going to be some interesting conversation on After Trek. So although I can't stand the host's voice, I do love the behind the scenes and the conversation with the people making the show. So check it out.
On After Trek, one of the things they did also mention on there is that literally everything you see on screen is there for a reason. And
Which is neat to know too. You know, to not take too much of a tangent, but oh my God, Doug Jones, how perfect is he?
I like the fact
Saru?
there's such a that's Saru.
Yeah.
I like the fact there is such a difference in height and things like that because they usually avoid that because of the way the screen goes when they're doing different shots, and I like the fact that they've made it very different.
Did you notice when he left? He said, "You have the." Oh, Robert Reyes.
Thanks for distracting Nick.
Yeah.
I'm distracted too. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not Gillian Anderson, is it?
Yes, that is.
It is. Yes.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's Gillian Anderson.
Oh, investigate me! Investigate me! when he said you have the con, did you notice that alien, she looked like a combination to me of Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxy and a Borg.
Oh, the one with the little bit of tech on the side of her head?
Yeah, no, not the one from the Shinzu. The one on the bridge.
I'm not sure.
Oh, I don't even know how I would Google.
I'm just going
Hold
to get
on.
an image.
I'll have to watch it again
Steve,
later
you know who
today.
I'm talking about, right?
I do. I'll find a thing.
I'm wondering if she's Orion. I mean, Orion.
No, she wasn't.
Well, Orion males have the implants, so it kind of stands.
No. She was not Orion.
Oh, well, when you said, oh wait, Nebula. Never mind.
Yeah, Nebula. Hold on, I'm looking here.
Someone else.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a photo of her.
I think she's supposed to be just a robot.
No, she wasn't a robot.
No?
No, they sent her to sickbay, didn't they?
She's actually got a rank, so it's not a robot. Found picture.
Find it?
Yep.
Son, those are not heels. Those are hooves.
Yes, he's got hooves.
Yes.
Oh.
Doug Jones has to step on, is walking on his tiptoes, which it's got to
There she is,
be a
Mike.
pain. Okay.
See how
Interesting.
like Nebula
Yeah, a little bit.
and a little bit of Borg.
A little bit, yeah.
But going back quickly to the Klingons about the shushing part.
Yeah.
We know Klingons are hunters. Now, of course, it's already killed the other Klingons, so I think he was actually hunting this monster.
Yeah,
and of course, Tilly was the one.
People?
Well, he's going
was
after.
It more like he didn't want to give himself away to the creature.
Yeah, because basically he's hushing them because he knows that's going to attract the creature, and he's trying to hunt it. And of course, all they're doing is going la 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 la.
Well, I don't have a problem with that, but the gesture, that action of shh, was to me, I thought was too human. It was a much more human. I would imagine Klingons would have a different method of indicating silence. That's kind of what I thought.
Yeah, but he's doing it to a human-led federation.
But not every Klingon would know how a human goes shh.
That's true. Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, what Nick and I had said before.
Says the shushing Klingon was a human disguised as a Klingon, a Section 31 agent.
I buy it.
It was Edith Keeler.
It was Edith Keeler. That's right. But yeah, I didn't quite buy the shushing. I thought it was too the action itself was too human. I would have liked to have seen something different, a different gesture. Maybe like a hand over his mouth, or palm in or palm out, but something to indicate that you understood was silence, but without the human finger across the lips and the shush. That's just my thought on that. What else were we talking about before we went back to the Klingon shushing? I forget.
That started it.
Yeah, and then it kind of went somewhere, and I was kind of wanting to chime in on it, but I don't know anymore.
No problem.
Well, so let me ask you this. In the first 3 episodes, and of course the episodes 1 and 2 don't really count, but rank your 3 favorite characters so far.
In no particular order. Lorca, Saru, and Burnham, but I do like Stamets. Maybe as a 4th.
me, I think Burnham is actually my favourite. I do like what they've done with her. I know a lot of people haven't. Then it'd be Lorca and then Tilly.
Go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead.
I need more time to think. Go ahead.
Saru, and this is no particular order. Saru, Burnham, Orca.
I must admit, I thought Landry would have been on your list.
Well, he hasn't been in enough lately.
Well, if we're going off of screen time, then that only leaves Burnham and Lorca. Maybe Giorgio. But likable or characters that we love to hate, or I mean, what exactly
who you
are
like. Who you're interested in every time they're on the screen?
A long list. Everyone that pretty much comes out on the screen, I want to know more about. It's not a fair question for me. I see Stamets, I want to know more about him. I see Lorca, I want to know more about him. I see Burnham, of course I want to know more about her. The show is about her. I love Tilly. Saru, he's fascinating for so many reasons, and I'm almost positive that he's up to something, and he's but he's a fascinating character. So it's like every time we meet someone new, I want to know more about them. I want to know more about the black badges. I want to know more about the spore drive. It's like, it's just, you're gonna make me pick? How dare you, sir?
I know. I'm so sorry. I love I love how Saru talks. Like his cadence when he talks, he doesn't yell. He you know what I mean? Just the way he and boy, did he get in the biggest shot in the first 3 episodes when he said, "I plan on taking better care of my captain than my former first officer did."
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't think it was meant in a fuck you kind of way. I don't get that from his character. Now, Steve, you've read the book. Is that like? I don't think his character has a meanness to him.
No, to me, it wasn't a meanness. He was just
It's a
saying
statement
he
of
wants. It's just a fact. It's he wants to do better, and of course, as with anyone who, when you look for promotions, you look to be better than the people that came with you, whether it's parents or bosses. You always look to improve, and to him, he's just saying, I look to do better than you did. And especially with what they've been talking about, she regrets how things turned out, and he's just making a statement of fact, I aim to do better.
And because I could tell you, as an NCO, I would look at the NCOs above me and choose, okay, I want to be like that person. To this day, I still carry the lessons that I learned from my first sergeant at Fort Bragg in how to handle certain things, but I also paid really close attention to the NCOs who were not good, and what not to do. And I see him as being that way. He admired her, he liked her, but he felt let down by what happened.
He did say that she was
the best officer.
So there was a lot for him to want to emulate, but there was also the one time that she failed.
Regret as to what happened. Yeah.
And there's also what he said when Stratton basically was having an argument about the away team, and Saru was asked, look, you've worked with Burnham, how would you describe her abilities? And he basically said flat out, she's the best Starfleet officer that I've ever met.
The smartest.
Yeah, that's it. And he goes, and he knows you.
Yeah, and Lorga responds, yeah, and he knows you, which was another nice little dig,
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, and Jason Isaac, I love his delivery as well. There's no... It's so nice to see people, and this goes for Orville too, not yelling and overreacting, but you know what I mean?
But
it wasn't chewing the scenery.
Yeah.
Because in the past, you would have had, like, for example, Voyager with B'Elanna, the little tantrum she used to go away. For Deep Space Nine, it was Nerys, fed up of how the emissary was being sort of, again, go off, have a little tantrum. This is very, very different with the way it's being done. And
I like that. I like it a lot.
I can see Lorca having when something does not go his way, I can see him going into his little menagerie and just tearing that room apart. I can see that. I
see his anger as being a much colder anger.
To other people, I think so.
I don't see him pulling a Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I think he would be quiet and digging, and you would just know from the tone of his voice.
Yeah, but then when he'd go into his quarters or whatever and trash the room.
I don't see that. I see him more like an angry Picard. You know what I mean? Could you see Kirk doing that, or Picard?
Mirror Universe Kirk, yeah.
Well, yeah.
He did.
That's all I'm saying. I just don't see that from his character yet. We've only had one episode. We have to be fair. But now, Mike, because it's 11 o'clock now, 3 o'clock in Greenland, is there anything we didn't get to that you wanted to? Because we've had some great discussion today about both Orville and Discovery. Son, I will grant Picard did crash his little golden ships, but that was like that was so powerful because it was so rare and so out of the character that we knew.
But then that was just PTSD.
Yeah, he had been pushed that far.
Well, Terry had shared an article earlier in the week stating that Star Trek Discoveries has almost doubled CBS All Access mobile subscription revenue. So on mobile, it's making a huge difference. I mean, almost doubling what they were making from mobile subscriptions. That's pretty awesome. That's not from smart TVs or from your desktop browser. This is from mobile devices, mobile platforms. So this is like your cell phone, your tablet. So they've doubled their subscription revenue from just that platform, that part of the pie. So that's awesome news. Season 2 could be in 2019. There's a post there regarding that, how they are thinking about a second season. No official announcement has been made yet, but they are starting to think about it, which is great. Let's look. I'm looking. A lot of cool stuff over at New York Comic Con.
Yeah, even I sent a link to Mike.
What link did you send?
Oh, Mike, the Star Trek stuff from the statues. That it looked interesting. That halfway down the page from bleeding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was all proud of myself. I actually did something for the show during the week.
That's right.
Instead of just showing up.
they were the what were
Kirk's, Spock, and McCoy statues.
Yeah, I think they're the QMX ones. I'm not sure.
I don't know because I just was going through to see what they had for Star Trek to see if they had anything before I shared it.
Yeah.
Rest assured, I shall only show up on Sundays from now on.
No. It
I'm
was
kidding,
very cool.
Mike.
It was
kidding.
cool.
And congrats to those that are at New York Comic Con this weekend. It looks like everyone is having a fantastic time.
Yeah. And I saw pictures from the Discovery panel. Everybody looking real happy.
And they get to see the new Justice League trailer.
Oh yeah.
Oh joy. Joy.
I'm gonna be looking at that afterwards.
Why? Have you ever known me to be down on a superhero movie, but do you know what I have absolutely zero interest in? The Justice League movie.
I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it.
I loved Wonder Woman. Loved it. I even like Suicide Squad. But even Ben Affleck has said that Batman vs. Superman was not that good.
But I am a Justice League fan, so I am looking forward to it. I just hope they don't fuck it up. But anyways, Star Trek Online season 14 is available now, so check it out.
What was that?
Star Trek Online's season
okay.
14.
I missed the first part. Yeah.
Emergence. So that's
and Al Rivera. I know you listen. Posted something on our Facebook, and I have to find it.
okay.
Hold on, let me find it here. Because I disagree with the great and powerful Al.
Okay.
Doesn't mean I don't love him.
While you're
yeah.
you're looking for it, also Timelines, the new event is ongoing. It's the first of a Discovery Mega event. So what that means is over the next 4 weeks, this week being week 1, there will be 4 events, all featuring Discovery and Discovery crew and all kinds of fun stuff.
Here
so
it is.
check it out.
Okay. On the G&T Show Facebook page, which you can go to by going to, Mike?
Facebook.com/SundayGNT, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
Yes. The article was Star Trek Discovery Timeline and Uniform Changes Explained. Albert Rivera says it doesn't need to be explained. The explanation is no longer in the 60s and we now have high-powered computer rendering software. I agree with you in theory, but if you're going to say that this is a direct connection, then there does need to be some kind of explanation for how unbelievably different things look, as in tech that, look, I'm not saying it should have looked like 66, 67, but this is like, how do I explain my thought process on this? This is like going back to 1983 with a computer from today and not explaining why it looks so different from a Commodore 64.
Well, I mean, and of course,
Well, I'm
of
sorry,
course it looks
setting a
different
show,
because
setting a
this
show
show
in
has
1983. Huh?
Of course it looks different. This show has a budget.
Right, no, but what I'm saying is setting a show in 1983. You wouldn't put computers from today in there. They're using Tony Stark's technology. See what I'm saying?
No, I know what you mean. I mean, well, if you took your car, if you bought a car today, and
You took a Tesla.
and you took it to 1950, of course it wouldn't look like 1950 for crying out loud. And anybody with any sense at all would say, yeah, you know, technology has changed. Things have moved on.
They thought it in Back to the Future. They thought it was a UFO.
That's all I'm saying is look, I'm not saying I don't like the look of it. I'm not saying
And that was
any
only
of that.
that was only 30 years. I'm just saying.
But what I'm saying is that it's so different that it really doesn't look like it belongs in the connection between Discovery going to original series. That's all I'm saying. And frankly, they could have set this series like after Voyager.
They could have.
Or
I mean,
set during the Dominion War.
the Enterprise novels kind of explain give a good reason why technology changed from Enterprise to between Enterprise and TOS, and it has everything to do with the Romulan War. A quick synopsis, spoilers if you haven't read it, you should read it. But essentially, the Romulans had developed technology that were able to drill into starships' computer systems and allow them to commandeer vessels, turning the vessels against its crew, against other ships, other star bases, just wiping out, people and things and places super easy. So they had to develop this backward analog technology in order to avoid.
You're talking BSG, right?
No, I was talking about the Enterprise novels, but we also saw it in BSG. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. In the Enterprise novels, because of the way the Romulans could, in fact, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The Enterprise novels are so good.
They are, and so check them out if you haven't yet. But
and if you haven't read Kristen Byers' Voyager novels, look, it's well known I'm not a Voyager fan. I love her novels. They are so good. And actually way more interesting than Voyager ever was. Sorry, Mike, I cut you off.
Okay, I was basically finished.
I'm sorry.
At least with that. But there's also been questions about the insignia, why everybody is using the Delta, and StarTrek.com. So I guess this is the ones that would probably know have an explanation of what's going on with the deltas, or the insignias, and basically it comes down to if it's Starfleet, if it actually is Starfleet, it's the Delta. If it's a subgroup, like Merchant Marines,
like a fleet,
or no, if it's Starfleet, doesn't matter if it's.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense because Captain
on.
Ron Tracy had a different, and the crew of the Defiant had a different.
That was an error on Thesis' part, the costume designer.
Yeah, I never saw it like that, simply because
there was a memo.
The Navy...
There was a memo from Blackman, or wait, who was the continuity guy on TOS?
Was it Black?
Was it Blackman, or anyways?
Black, yeah.
There was a memo from him saying, "Hey, what's going on with this?" I thought Roddenberry said that had said, if they're Starfleet, they're all supposed to be using the Deltas instead, or he referred to it as the swoosh rather than the Delta. But so that was an error on Thesis' part. Because in Charlie X, that crew had a different badge, but they weren't in Starfleet. They were Merchant Marines, so they had their own badge. Starfleet Academy, their own badge. Starbase Operations, their own badge. So there were a total of six different tiers, or 6 different badges that were possible based on where you were commanded or where you were posted, what the posting was, and whatnot.
Yeah, but
the
what
Commodores
showed up on screen is, quote, canon.
which was one of the things that showed up on screen was an error, and also anything that appears afterward is supposed to be, taken as the new canon. But that was the intent.
I just got dizzy.
Me too.
Dave Mack does actually make reference to the differences in bridge changes and uniforms within Desperate Hours.
Okay. I'll have to read it. Dave Mack! Guy.
The always dreamy David Mack.
Always dreamy.
Always.
He's no Kevin Dillmore, though.
Although I have to say, the always dreamy Jason Lorca. Holy cow.
Yeah, right?
Oh, God.
You mean Jason Isaacs?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jason Isaacs. You know it.
Jason Lorca.
Oh, God.
And while he may be
streams,
dreamy,
my God.
I'm just going to say, he's no John Barrowman. Oh, I'm not gay, but I'm telling you. I'd turn for him. But having said that, okay, Mikey.
Yes.
As we head into wind-up, were there more things you wanted to discuss or put out? And congratulations to the Cushman.
Yes, he got married. Congratulations.
Poor bastard.
Congratulations.
I mean, congratulations. That's why Terry's not here. She was at the nuptials.
That's a great word.
Thank you.
It sounds dirty, but it's not.
Like moist. Mike, anything else you want to add?
We have a couple of stuff on our website. Couple of posts, a few posts. Let's see, the what is it? The product update for September. That's up. The changes that are coming to the GNT show, those are posted, as well as the press releases for Star Trek Timelines and Star Trek Online. So check those out.
Speaking of the changes coming, God, I wish we could use that for our intro to the first show. I would like to say I already have a version of Life Pod 1 scheduled for the first episode back, but not of Star Trek. Yeah. And it's one sure to get the blood flowing.
So it's a Degrassi High.
Don't even tease me about Degrassi High. How dare you?
21 Jump Street, then?
Oh, it's not 21. It's of another major genre series. And it's 4 characters, and you must get rid of one. Janet, what do you have on the horizon, aside from your 17th degree?
Well, Semantic Shenanigans will be on the 24 Hours GNT. We do not have a time slot yet to talk with another podcast, with a European podcast called Who Back When. We're going to discuss all the changes that have been made to Doctor Who, and also I get to chit chat with my cousin because he's one of the people in the podcast, and we also have to get to figure out how the hell we're actually related. We think we're either third or fourth cousins, so I'm about as closely related to Leon as I am to Nick.
Steve?
Speaking of 24 hours, I should be working on the schedule next week.
Okay. Yeah, I can't wait to talk to Trek Geeks. Got something to say to them in person, I tell you. Yeah, I know you're listening. I know you're there.
Okay.
Steve?
Hopefully can try and get together to do tribbles later on today. Trying to get people together.
Not
after...
hospitalized.
Yeah. Then I've got new Horizons to discuss Discovery on Tuesday, and then just trying to get my fitness up.
Good for you.
And
I have to clean out my downstairs bathroom for the guy coming in. That too.
What about you, Nick?
The Promenade podcast by Robert Reyes.
Yeehaw!
Listen to that. I have something I have to do for Steve. That's weeks old now. Mikey has reached out to somebody that if this ever comes to fruition, let me just tell you, Mikey, how excited will I be if that one ever comes to fruition?
He's gonna have to change his pants.
Yeah, it's a bucket list interview for me. And Mikey knows who the guy is, and he knows that I could do 5 hours with that guy.
Easy.
But we just have to hope that it happens. Yeah, so that would be wonderful. My car, still in the shop, found out what happened to my car. Did I tell you all about that?
No.
Oh.
Well, Mike, you saw the pictures.
Yes, I saw the picture.
So I was driving to work, la 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 la, and my check engine light came on. Okay, fine, I'll take it in. 30 seconds later, the oil pressure dropped and my car died.
Uh-oh.
Did your engine seize?
Oh, my engine seized, baby. It threw a bearing.
Oh yeah. This is big money. You know.
Well, luckily, because it needs a new engine, a whole new engine. For those that don't understand, think about the warp core being ejected. That's basically what happened to my car. I had it towed. Thank God I have USAA. They are the best. And because I only got the car in January, even though it's a used car, it was under warranty. So
Right
it's
on.
looking
That makes
like,
a difference, man.
It's looking like, hear that? That's me knocking on wood with the new headset Mikey got me. You should be able to hear that. Looking like it'll be covered.
Right on.
So yeah, that'd be phenomenal if it's covered. Because bitch isn't even paid off yet. So it's been a week of high anxiety because we really couldn't afford the rental car that I had to use this week, but we made it work. And so now I'm just hoping to get my car back by next week. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Thank God I have tomorrow off for the holiday. But so there's that. Some things happening. We are preparing for our next season, which will start in January. I'm very excited. Mike, I know you sound like you're exhausted, but I really think it'll give us a chance to branch out. Janet, you two, and even Steve, even Steven. And to kind of, and like I said, we could have a Mikey's moment, or a Mikey's corner, a Terry's corner, a Getty's corner, that kind of thing, where we can discuss. And also, we'll still be discussing Discovery. Don't think we won't. And the Orville, and like Critical Role, and gaming, and comics, and all kinds of things to kind of spread our wings a little, because we have such, like, Mikey does a lot of gaming that he can't, like the Lego stuff.
Sure, you need a platform to talk about that. You know, it's actually we were thinking in Semantic Shenanigans to maybe do a bit of a product roundup of our own. You know, it would have to be really abbreviated, you know, and a little more, you know, and more open in terms of, you know, stuff from let's say the X-Files or whatnot, because there's obviously an interest out there.
Well, and also, if you guys are covering the entertainment world and lawsuits, there's quite the thing going on right now. A major, I would say, one of the 3 most important people in Hollywood is going down.
Oh yeah, oh yes, that's yeah, Mr. Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
You don't know about that, Mike?
No, I don't.
No,
you know who Harvey Weinstein is?
Weinstein
Macher in Hollywood.
What's that, Mike?
Isn't he the Weinstein Company?
Yes. He is no longer. He had to step down.
Major sexual harassment accusations.
Like, huge.
And
Like, makes Bill Clinton's look like a high schooler.
yeah, it's I saw this morning there's apparently talk about that he paid his accusers off for several years to keep them quiet.
Yeah, so you're talking one of the, I would say, 2 or 3 most powerful people in Hollywood.
Yeah, it's just this is going to cut a swath through Hollywood.
Yeah. So some interesting things going on. So semantic shenanigans. Hi sha-na-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na-na. Sha-na-na-na-na-na-na. Everything gets back to the Brady Bunch with me.
Well, you know.
Thank you all. This was a great conversation this week, I think. Boy, Mikey's going to have fun thinking up a title for this one.
We got a few.
I'm not
possibles.
writing it.
The spores get in your eyes.
Spores get in your eyes. Isn't that a song?
So, smoke gets in your eyes.
Close enough.
All right. So, this is episode 297. So, for Mikey.
Sure, ask me with my mouth full. Kablah.
See, now you sound like the Discovery. Do it again. You sound like the Discovery Klingons.
I had a mouthful of banana.
Banana.
You did sound like the guy from Discovery, though.
Yeah, you gotta sound
All
like
right, let's try that again. For Ceridium.
Kablah.
There it is. For Jespa.
Take care, everybody, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
For Steve.
Goodbye, everyone.
So lame. And I'm Getty. This is GNT 297. October 8th, 2017 for Michael Hinman. Next week, 298. We're closing in, people. We're closing in.
We're almost there. Just clap your hands a little longer, boys and girls.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5-Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band,
Turn it off.
Worth 11, Andrew Allen.
Turn it off. I didn't get my Joel Untrue out, you dink. I was joking.
Darn it, I stopped recording and stopped
All right.
Oops.
That's all right. Joel Untrue, bitches.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5-Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Worth 11, Andrew Allen, and Greth Thor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To fully go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy free galaxy. To fully go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. a zero-G community. To boldly go where no man's gone before. Face happy. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. To be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G